rising up to explore the difficult topics of real life. Join us as we proclaim the good, the true, and the beautiful with the simple truth of Jesus Christ and His holy Catholic Church through Scripture, tradition, and the Catechism. And now, your host, Jim Havens.
It is great to be back with you on The Simple Truth, where we proclaim the life-giving reality of Jesus and His Catholic Church. We consecrate everything to the Sacred Heart of Jesus through the Immaculate Heart of Mary and the pure, strong heart of Saint Joseph. It is Wholeness and Healing Monday, fighting to cultivate the health of the whole person, mind, body, and soul. With our co-host, my wonderful wife, Becky Havens. She is a Catholic wife and mother with a passion and calling to educate people about the importance of caring for our bodies that the Lord has blessed us with by living a healthy lifestyle. She's the author of Toxin Free in 12 Months, a 12-month guide to help you transition over to a toxin-free lifestyle. She also wrote a boycott list of over 300 pro-abortion companies. You can get them both for free. Learn more at her website, safehavensmama.com. Becky, how are you this fine day?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Our topic today, smart supplementation. So I think it's probably best right off the top to reiterate, as we do, that we're not doctors. We're regular people looking to live well, raise our family. We believe in objective truth and asking questions when things don't make sense. We're not giving medical advice. We want to offer a forum, though. That's what we're about, offering a forum here today. We know a thing or two, perhaps, but there's still a ton we don't know. We've got some personal experiences, and so do you. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to put the phone number out in just a little bit to hear from you, but we also did put the morning survey out via email. If you want to get on that list so you can get that email and be able to plug in with us on that survey, you just go to thestationofthecross.com, go to the Simple Truth, scroll down the page, put your email address in, and you'll start getting this survey. So in the survey, we asked today the first question: do you take any dietary supplements to enhance your health? And everybody who answered the survey today, 100% said yes. They at least take one dietary supplement to enhance their health. So Becky, let's start there. Can you explain the distinction here between homeopathy, alternative medicine, versus dietary supplements? What do we mean when we say supplements, and what do we not mean?
Sure. So a dietary supplement is intended to add or to supplement to the diet for any given purpose. You take them in the form of a pill, a liquid, gummies, powders, gel caps. They would be things like vitamins, minerals, botanicals or herbs, amino acids, probiotics. And then you have homeopathy, which is quite different. It's a natural healing system that triggers the body's own healing mechanisms to relieve symptoms and improve your health. It's actually recognized by the FDA, so that's they actually recognize that it exists, and whether or not they think it works or not, that's different. But it works by using extremely small diluted amounts of plants and minerals to help the body repair itself by promoting healing. So it's a very different way of working than a supplement. You're not going to get something, through homeopathy, through your food. It's, a very acute way to treat an issue, and not intended for long-term use either. And supplements are different. I guess you can be on it for a longer amount of time, but it's usually just adding to your already existing diet for those reasons.
Mm-hmm. All right, wonderful. And so at the same time, we asked how many supplements people were taking, and on average, the answer was about 5 a day. And so some less, some more, but on average, that was the answer, 5 a day. So, I wonder, one of the fundamental questions I wonder about this topic when we begin thinking about it is, do we actually need any dietary supplements, or can we get everything that we do need from having a good, healthy diet? Becky, I'm sure you've thought about this. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I know we've definitely talked about this because supplements cost money. It takes time to kind of figure out what you need and the dosing, and it's a habit. You got to keep up with it in order to achieve the results that you're looking for. Some people claim that we don't have enough that we need from our food, because of depletion of the soil or all the GMOs and the sprays that they put on the crops. So I think some people say that we're lacking, and so people just generally think I'll just take a supplement and I'll be good to go. I think the primary way to receive all vitamins and minerals should be, from food, and if you can, a local farm that's not sprayed with pesticides, and if not, then organic is better. And get your proteins and just keep it balanced. I think that's the best way to get the vitamins and minerals that we need. But I definitely understand when people do need to supplement, and I think it's just important to know why you're supplementing, not just because, hey, this works really good for me, why don't you try it? You don't want to necessarily put something into your body that might not work for you, but maybe it's working for somebody else. Maybe they're guided by their doctor or practitioner on why they're taking that. So I think you have to be really intentional about why you're using the supplement, and then finding a good, safe brand to use as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, and there are other things, right, that are much more important and effective. So if we want to get everything squared away in terms of health, body, mind, body, and soul, there is a role for some smart supplementation. That's our topic today, smart supplementation. But also we've got to keep in mind the more important things too that we have to make sure are going well. So the diet, exercise is key, sleep. Peace of heart, I would say, is a key one. This is going to prevent a lot of the stress if we can, even in the midst of the trials in this earthly life, maintain peace of heart. Our Lord wants us to, and this is mostly done by living a life of sanctifying grace, to be in a state of sanctifying grace with our Lord, no mortal sins on our soul, striving to not even ever commit a venial sin by God's grace, to have a clear conscience. And to be able to really be prayerful and soaking our hearts and our minds in His, by giving Him attention throughout the day, hopefully as much as we possibly can, even to the point of praying without ceasing by God's grace. But let's say we have all these areas squared away. Can some smart supplementation still be helpful? That's what we're talking about today. And so, which supplements have you found to be most helpful? If you want to call in and share anything with us on this topic, give us a call, 1-877-511-5483. That's 1-877-511-5483. So we did ask that in the survey, which supplements have you found to be most helpful? These were some of the most popular answers: a multivitamin, vitamin D, magnesium, and fish oil. So Becky, what do you think about these, and what supplements have you found to be most helpful?
Yeah, those sound like pretty popular supplements. Definitely ones that we have tried as well. And I really just think it depends on what are you struggling with. I would never recommend for somebody just to start taking a supplement unless there's, they're noticing something that might be off, because then you're putting something into your body that you're just not 100% sure that it's tested for heavy metals, that it's safe. I mean, these are like big batches just coming from different warehouses, so you want to be careful with that. But different ones that we've personally used, or I guess myself, definitely magnesium. I know we're all depleted. I've seen good effects with that. Zinc when needed, vitamin D. While we live in Florida, I think the best way to get your vitamin D is outside. So being in summer right now, definitely important to get some sun without some sunscreen for like 15-20 minutes, so it doesn't block that vitamin D. That's the best form that we can utilize in our bodies. And I think B vitamins are really important, especially for women as we go through pregnancy, as we go through hormone changes. I think they can be really helpful. But again, you have to be very careful with B vitamins because you don't want too many, or they might not make you feel good. So yeah, that's kind of what I would share.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anonymous said, supplements that are made with actual food and herbs. Our bodies were designed to be in sync with nature, and through nature and the guidance of the Holy Spirit, we can help the body do what God designed it to do. Becky, any thoughts on that? Any follow-up?
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think she said it well.
All right, great. Let's go ahead.
No, go. I was just saying, I have a little friend visiting me, a woodpecker, who's knocking at my window. So I'm trying to shoo it away. We got a lot of those down here. So.
All right. Well, we had another comment here, Teresa in Homer, New York, who said magnesium biglycinate for TMG. It has made a huge difference. I also use activated charcoal for slight stomach upset occasionally. It detoxifies quickly. My daughter introduced me to using it. She also has a friend who is an ER doctor and had never heard of it. She thought it was a great idea. My teenage son's friend came over and drank 2 energy drinks he had purchased and was really sick. I gave him 2, and within 20 minutes, he felt great. Becky, your thoughts on either of these, magnesium biglycinate or charcoal, activated charcoal?
Yeah, that's a great story. I feel like, many, emergency rooms use activated charcoal for, overdose. They use, high amounts, but I think it's become more recently popular to kind of detox, use it as a supplement to get rid of the toxins. It binds to a toxin. It knows what's good or bad, and it, absorbs it all, and then you discard it. And there's a lot of great ways to use activated charcoal, so I definitely agree. And then magnesium as well. I think that's one of the minerals that we're most lacking, and it has so much to do with every part of our bodies. It regulates our heart and our hormones, and so yeah, I definitely agree with that as well.
Mm-hmm. As we head to the break, think about what you supplement also for the life of your soul. All right. So the sacramental life, you want to be steeped in it. You want to be in that state of grace. Be reading the Bible, be praying the rosary. So many great supplements, the devotions of the church, the lives of the saints. So much. Talking about smart supplementation for our mind, bodies, and souls. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned.
This is Franciscan Media's Saint of the Day for July 3rd. Today we celebrate St. Thomas the Apostle. Also called Didymus, or the Twin, we know almost nothing about St. Thomas other than one remark on Easter evening that forever branded him as Doubting Thomas. But if Thomas doubted, he also believed. As recorded in John's Gospel, he made what is certainly the most explicit statement of faith in the New Testament, "My Lord and my God." Thomas should equally be well known for his courage. He surely spoke with sincerity when he expressed his willingness to die with Jesus. Traditionally, he is said to have traveled outside the Roman Empire to preach the gospel. Some say he even reached India, preaching and converting and eventually suffering martyrdom there around the year 72. Thomas shares the lot of all the apostles in their weakness and lack of understanding. However, Christ did not pick worthless men. Holiness is a gift of God, not a human creation. It is given to ordinary men and women with weaknesses. It is God who gradually transforms the weaknesses into the image of Christ, the courageous, trusting, and loving one. There's more about the saints along with inspiration and Catholic resources at our website, saintoftheday.org. From Franciscan Media, this has been Saint of the Day.
Joe McLean here, host of A Catholic Take, heard on the Station of the Cross each weekday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. A bold synthesis of information and inspiration, keeping you up to date on the news and issues that you may have missed from a courageous Catholic perspective. That's A Catholic Take, weekday morning, 7 a.m. right here on the Station of the Cross and the free iCatholic Radio mobile app. Download it today. God love you.
Wholeness and Healing Monday on The Simple Truth. Jim and Becky Havens here talking about smart supplementation today. That's our topic, smart supplementation. The question we are talking about right now, what do you think about, I'm sorry, that's not it. What supplements have you found to be most helpful? That's the question we're asking right now. What supplements have you found to be most helpful when it comes to your bodily health, dietary supplements? What has been most helpful for you? Give us a call. Let us know. Offering a good forum here to share some information with one another. 1-877-511-5483. That's 1-877-511-5483. All right, I guess it's my turn to share a few supplements. I don't use a lot of supplements. I try not to use any supplements if I can, but there are a few over the years that I have found to be tried and true for me, and it's mostly things related to exercise. That's how I've learned about these supplements and started using them. So one is creatine monohydrate. So it's an amino acid, helps the muscles recover more quickly during exercise, may also support brain health, I found out as I was looking it up for this show. So especially some signs that it may be helpful with short-term memory, intelligence, and reasoning. So look, great to hear. I need all the help I can get. Very glad to hear about those possible benefits here. But really, I take it as a supplement for exercise to help muscles develop, just to be able to recover more quickly, basically, so that when you are when you're lifting weights or when you're running and you're doing this with great intensity, what's happening is that once your muscles get depleted, they kind of run out of an endurance. The creatine, to my understanding, helps to sort of elongate that endurance, which is going to help you to develop the muscle more as well, which as we age, I'm only 45, which is getting up there in some way of thinking. In another way, it's relatively young, but at the same time, even when you're 45, you got to start thinking about, hey, we better get some good muscle going. We better put the work in now so that as you get older and you start deteriorating in muscle, if by God's grace we live another day and we live another 10, 20, 30, 40 years or beyond, the muscle deteriorating is something that you want to watch out for in terms of being able to live a good life and be strong and healthy and be able to be functional in the world. And so that's something that to keep an eye on. So creatine may be helpful to some. Another one goes right along with it. It's called glutamine, L-glutamine, and apparently it's the most abundantly naturally occurring amino acid in the human body, plays a critical role in muscle recovery as well, and also in gut health and immune system health. And so those two combined, I wasn't sure if, Becky had kind of asked me before the show when we were talking about this, how do you know those two things go together and that there's nothing wrong with them? And basically personal experience of using them over the years, oftentimes in a sort of cycle dosage. That's what they used to say to do. There used to be all these rules around using creatine about 10, 20 years ago that you take it with grape juice and you have to, you got to only use it for a certain amount of time, then you got to get off it and then get back on it. You got to load it up in the beginning, all these things. So all of that has changed now. And they basically just say, yeah, you can just use it and just, you don't have to load it. And you can just keep using it continually. So there's that. But also, it was a friend of mine who got me onto those two supplements. So when we ask the next question about who do you listen to on supplements, in other words, who referred you to the supplements you're taking, yeah, we want to be running these things through the intellect. I have to admit, I probably haven't done that super well. It basically was probably about 20, 25 years ago, a friend of mine who was getting me into weight training, and he said, hey, you should take these two things. They're helpful. Take them together, and they work good together. And I said, okay. And that was pretty much it. I don't think I looked too much into it. I probably did when I might have had a concern or something. I may have looked into it when the internet started coming around with a lot of information. I'm sure I probably looked it up a time or two, but don't recall, doing a lot of research on it or anything like that. But I looked it up before the show, and totally safe by all accounts that these two things go together. In fact, creatine is one of the most researched supplements out there because it's been so heavily used by bodybuilders, weight training, things like that. And there's been that question of, is it healthy? There's no long-term studies. And so now they have, studied it for a good deal of time. And so they know a lot more about it, seems to be safe. And so those are the two big ones for me. Also protein powder, try to get in enough protein in my diet. But when I think I need a boost, go into the protein powder. Again, good for weight training, resistance training. I remember also, though, hearing about protein powder not working at all. One of my first college classes that I took was a nutrition class as an undergrad. And my teacher in that at that university, in that nutrition class, she said, protein powder, that does nothing for you but give you expensive urine. And so all right, I wasn't sure what to think. I probably stopped using it after I heard that. I can't recall, but I've gone back to it. It's something that I have still used in supplementation, thinking that, well, it must be helpful to some degree. I looked it up before the show, and it says that it does seem that the studies are quite clear that protein powder can improve strength and lean body mass. So again, something as a dietary supplement, if you're not getting enough protein, there's ways to maybe work some protein powder into your diet to help you with that. And especially as we're aging, again, we want to be aware of the muscles deteriorating. We want to strengthen them, feed them, make sure we're getting enough protein. Becky, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that because, you have to. The interesting part about supplementation is that you need to supplement in a smart way, meaning that sometimes vitamins need other vitamins or cofactors to be properly absorbed. So the fact that those two happen to go together and you kind of got lucky that nothing else was going wrong, you just went for it. That's good. I think a lot of times we do hear things from our friends or the internet. A lot of times that you go on the internet and you're like, okay, what would help this problem or this? And then it leads you down a path of maybe supplementation. And then it's your duty to really go and research that and see, do I need other cofactors? Is there any side effects that I'm going to have to worry about? Will this, how will this fit into my budget? And so I think instead of just doing the latest fad, which a lot of times actually ends up being not a good thing, really take time to listen to, different things out there and get a variety of opinions on that. That's kind of how I approach different ways. And if you have a good doctor or a good practitioner that's kind of leading you in that way, definitely listen and take what they have to say, but also still do your research. Don't just listen blindly to what they say and okay, this is going to be it, this is going to be the answer. And it's still, they're still humans, and you still need to run it through God and make sure you're on the right path as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very important to be forming our intellects well and getting the right information on all of this so that we can make good decisions. And also it occurs to me, especially as a young person, when you're trying to be in some athletic endeavor, it sort of makes sense. You want to try to get a boost to have more endurance or whatever it is in your muscles. But by and large, do we really need to be taking things to try to have more endurance to when you're not maybe in sort of some athletic endeavor? And certainly I've played a lot of sports and everything like that for many years, even into college. But at the same time, there's probably times where I've been taking those supplements that I probably really didn't need to. There was nothing I was really actually training for other than just to stay in good bodily health. And so, again, we got to think it through and say, is this something that I really need to be doing? But I do see reports that older individuals, in fact, even elderly individuals, they get great help from creatine as a supplement. To help them to not lose that muscle as much. And so something to maybe research and consider, that creatine monohydrate. At the same time, Becky, that we asked that question about who referred you to the supplements you're taking, and these were the various answers that we had. We had online nutrition websites, trusted friends, Alicia and Bill Ricca. Massachusetts said, my holistic doctor. We had others say similar comments. Others said medical doctors, natural websites. One listener said her mother. And so, look, the reports are that this is this market for supplements in the U.S. that is over $20 billion just in the U.S. alone. So there's a lot of people out there looking to make a buck. Not everyone is going to be honest. We know that. Original sin is real. Not everyone is correct in the information they put forth, but also the information changes as we learn more, as more studies come out. We see this all the time, things going back and forth. And let me put it, I guess, out there to you this way, Becky, as well. This is, I think, good information from Harvard Medical School. They put this out, and they're talking about protein powder specifically here, but this also gets to some interesting distinctions about what's out there in terms of regulation here. They say anyone considering protein powder should understand that it is classified as a dietary supplement, which means it is not regulated in the same way as food or medicine. That's all the supplements we're talking about here today. So it says responsibility falls on manufacturers to ensure that their products are not hazardous, though many companies do not test for safety or efficacy before their offerings hit shelves. Though the FDA created good manufacturing practices, GMPs, to help minimize adverse issues, compliance with these procedures remains a concern. In 2017, roughly a quarter of supplement manufacturing companies whose products were tested received citations relegated to purity, strength, and ingredient content. That said, there are accredited organizations like NSF International that independently test supplements, including protein powders. NSF's Certified for Sport designation ensures that contents match what is on the label and that the product is GMP registered and does not contain unsafe levels of toxic metals like arsenic and mercury. So imagine that. You could be taking a supplement and it's got arsenic or mercury in it. That's obviously a big problem that we want to avoid. We certainly don't have just full trust in the FDA. That's not something we're looking to do. But there ought to be some degree of regulation so that we can understand. All right, we might figure out that this is a supplement that is going to be helpful to us. But then, how do you find actually one that is going to be pure and not contain a bunch of garbage? Becky, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's interesting because really they are just putting together different ingredients with a label, and you have no idea if they're actually telling the truth, which is scary. So it's our job to research the company. So just like the FDA saying it's the company's job to ensure purity, we need to research then those companies to ensure that this is a decent company. Any badges that they may have are going to be important. Because different things like in protein powders, a lot of the rage is, the vegan protein powders now. So you have the pea protein, and peas are naturally high in heavy metals. I think it's lead maybe. And then you have rice powders, and they're naturally high in arsenic. And so you do want to ensure that you're getting these from a company that does do different heavy metal testing. And some of them do. Some of the protein powders but it's up to us to really research. I know that we use different brands. It's not cheap, but I appreciate at least that we know, we're getting what they're saying we're getting, which is not the fact with a lot of different companies.
Yeah, so I think sometimes having a lean budget is actually helpful with all of this. It takes a lot of the options away. It strips them away. And then it's just like, well, we don't have that in the budget. We're not paying for these things. And so, we're going to work within the budget that we have for the food that we buy, and we're going to do our best there, and we're going to get that squared away as much as possible, and that's what we're going to focus on. That, I think, is quite helpful. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
This is Life News Radio. I'm Jim Anderson. On Friday, Indiana Supreme Court called an abortion industry lawsuit a facial challenge against Indiana's abortion ban. Judges said there was no likelihood of the abortion industry lawsuit succeeding, so the challenge has been turned back entirely. Indiana will be the next state with an abortion ban. North Carolina's 12-week abortion ban has gone into effect. Legislators first overrode a governor's veto, and an abortion industry lawsuit challenging the ban has now failed to block the law in court. While the suit continues, pro-life leaders say Americans agree with protections from abortion for the preborn children who feel pain, suck their thumbs, and smile. This is Life News Radio. Isn't life an awesome gift? Married couples have the power, the right, to co-create an eternal life with God that will last forever. God has also designed us so that we can plan, can order our families effectively, naturally, and without the artificial means of chemicals or barriers. Register for classes in NFP, Natural Family Planning, near you, online at ccli.org or call 800-745-8252. The Biden White House has been caught hijacking HIV/AIDS funding or PEPFAR to support agencies that perform abortions. Direct payment for abortion is banned, but a loophole comes into play as the White House is paying other expenses for abortion providers. At Dublin's annual March for Life Saturday, OBGYN Dr. Trevor Hayes told marchers that many doctors would rather leave medicine than be compelled to harm lives in abortion. He says Ireland's maternal health care services already are stretched to the breaking point because there are too few doctors and nurses. For pro-life headlines delivered to your email address daily, sign up at lifenews.com. This has been Life News Radio.
Welcome back to The Simple Truth. Jim and Becky Havens here. Wholeness and Healing Monday, fighting to cultivate the health of the whole person, mind, body, and soul. Becky is the author of Toxin Free in 12 Months, a 12-month guide to help you transition over to a toxin-free lifestyle. Also wrote a boycott list of over 300 pro-abortion companies. You can get them both for free. Learn more at her website, safehavensmama.com. We're talking today about smart supplementation. If you have any questions or comments on this topic, give us a call, 1-877-511-5483. That's 1-877-511-5483. All right, we also asked about the flip side of all this when it comes to supplementation. We asked, have you had negative side effects to any supplements? Again, this is the survey that went out earlier today, and these were the answers. Well, really, the most popular answer was no, or not that I know of. But other than that, these were some of the answers about negative side effects. Quercetin can cause nausea if you don't take it with food, so I take all my vitamins with food. Another said stomach ache when taken on an empty stomach. We've got a theme going here. Another said only if I take them on an empty stomach, have horrible nausea. And then another said soy protein made me nauseous and headaches. And so a lot here about feeling nauseous when taking these supplements or vitamins, specifically it seems like on an empty stomach. Also soy protein causing headaches and nausea as well. Becky, any thoughts to any of this negative side effects to supplementation?
Yeah, I think it's really important to know how to use supplements properly. I feel like I'm one of those people who gets negative side effects from any supplement that I take. I have to go, a lot of times they say go low and slow and don't just start right off the bat with the maximum dose that the package is telling you, but it's okay to open the pills up and sprinkle some in some juice and go from there and see how you feel. I think it's really important to supplement in a smart way because a lot of times vitamins need other vitamins to be properly absorbed, and you need cofactors. So something like vitamin C, it helps with iron absorption. So if you're eating a steak, add in some peppers and spinach. So God made this pretty simple for us in these ways, but we have to take that into supplementation as well. So two other things, copper and zinc, they need certain ratios when taken. I know we were really zinc heavy from COVID, and now we're seeing copper toxicity and different side effects can come from that. So in most cases, zinc should not be used continuously. And when it is used continuously, you have to make sure that your copper is in check as well. And as for minerals, it's the same thing. You commonly need to take several together to get the desired effect. So if you take magnesium, you're going to need vitamin D to properly absorb that as well. And if you're taking calcium, you need vitamin D, magnesium, and vitamin K2 to push the calcium into the bone. So basically, vitamin D controls the absorption of calcium into the blood, and then vitamin K2 controls where that calcium ends up. And then if you over supplement vitamin D without enough K2, it leads to excess calcium. And what the studies are saying now is that calcium, if it's not absorbed into the bone, it's going somewhere else, which is usually the tissues, and it's causing heart disease. So there are studies linked to excess calcium and heart disease. And most doctors are just telling, you get to a certain age, like 50, 60, and they're saying, all right, I'm just going to put you on calcium because that now is the time when your bones start to become brittle, and you're going to need this. And then they're seeing the correlation between excess calcium and heart disease. And it really isn't that, we don't have enough calcium. It's just that we have a lot of calcium, especially in the United States. It's like dairy heavy everywhere. But you need the certain cofactors to absorb that calcium. So you're going to need the K2 and the vitamin D3. And if you have to supplement calcium for whatever reason, just make sure that you're, really researching what other cofactors you need so that, you can get everything into the right place, because it's really beautiful how God made the body to work, but we can't just take one and think we're good. There is a whole system that kind of goes with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and to me, I hear all that, and it's like, this sounds so complicated to take the time to have to try to figure all of this out. This goes with this, and this goes with this. And as far as, I mean, even just the foods themselves, right, that we have to think about it to that degree. When I kind of strip it away and think about that, I just say, you know what, there's a time where, we didn't have any of this information, and I don't know, were we better off? Were we worse off? I'm not sure. Did people need to know how all these combinations went down to have a good, healthy diet? So I'm not sure, but doesn't that kind of get back to that point of the most important component about that you're talking about is really to have a good, healthy, balanced, strong diet. If you're doing that, then you're probably in good shape. What would you say to that, Becky?
Yeah, definitely. And I really only am saying that because, someone who's personally struggled with low iron at different points and not wanting to take iron supplements, it was like, all right, well, how can I maximize my iron from food? And just a few simple tricks that, we have the internet now, so why not use it? A few simple tricks really helped me to maximize my iron without having to sit on a supplement for months and months, because supplements can cause effects that aren't desirable. And in general, you don't know what it's going to be doing to you. But I think, before the internet and even, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you just ate what you had. And I think that actually is probably the better way, because now it's so much information at our fingertips. And I think, the reason why this information is now out there, like the excess calcium and such, is because now they're seeing a chunk of the population who has, all this heart disease and excess calcium. And they're like, well, why? Okay, well, we've been prescribing them this calcium for years, and we're realizing it's not good. So that's kind of why I say don't just jump on the bandwagon and get going. Really research it. If you have that information available to you, research it. And in general, like you said, Jim, just stick with food the best you can. I mean, that's what God made. And that's always the first way to go is with food, for sure.
Yeah, and I think it highlights the point you were making earlier about really supplementation comes in if you have a specific need that you're trying to figure out. How can I overcome this ailment, these symptoms that are occurring? Is there some supplement that's going to be able to help me with this beyond my diet? And then if so, yes, then do the research, learn everything you can about it. And if there's combinations of things, that's really smart to get into it on that level of things. I just think about, trying to take it all in and say, every time I eat a meal, I'm figuring out like, okay, I'm going to have this and I'm going to have this because these two things work together and this works good. And I mean, to me, that is crazy, complicated, and overwhelming. So thank you for saying we don't have to do that. But I do want to go to a study real quick. I know you are going to also share something about a specific method, the pulse method. We'll get to that in a moment. But let me get this in here. This is from Johns Hopkins Medicine. It says that half of all American adults, including 70% of those age 65 and older, take a multivitamin or another vitamin or mineral supplement regularly. The total price tag exceeds $12 billion per year. And so this is something, then their argument is that this money is better spent on nutrient-packed foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, low-fat dairy products, rather than the vitamins. And so they're questioning the whole vitamin taking here, and they're saying, is there really any benefit to multivitamins? They're concluding, this is Johns Hopkins Medicine, and I don't certainly just trust everything that the medical establishment puts forth, but they're concluding here that multivitamins don't reduce the risk for heart disease, cancer, cognitive decline. And so they're really kind of concluding it is better just to take that money and focus on the best diet. Any further thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for the most part, that sounds about right. I mean, we can't just rely on supplements to fix every element if we're not living a healthy lifestyle to begin with. So you can't just be eating processed food, never exercising, going to bed late, not getting enough sleep, and stressed all the time, and then pop a few multivitamins and think you're good to go. It doesn't really work that way. The supplement is only there to enhance in those times when you need it. It's not like something just to rely on. So it really is. I mean, God's gift of food, is to be used as our supplements, as our nourishment. And then in those times when we are, in desperate need or really struggling, I think those are the times when, we have the gift of supplements at this point, and see what's out there and see what can help with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. All right, tell us about this pulse method. What's that all about?
Yeah, so this is kind of for people who are sensitive to supplements like me. And so, of course, this is why I've looked all this up, because I would take a supplement and think like, yikes, I have a headache, or I'm not feeling great, or which is ultimately why I feel like, God always is like, and you show me this a lot, like really discern what you're doing. Like we don't want to just be putting things into our body and being like, yes, this is the magic cure. This is going to help me. But to say like, if it's making me feel bad, why am I taking it? But there's different reasons why it can make you feel bad. So it doesn't immediately mean stop using it. But Dr. Ben Lynch, who's a great doctor, he's a doctor, but he goes into a lot of natural areas as well. And he's somebody I've followed for a long time. He created something called the pulse method. So it's really, it's a method developed for starting, pausing, and stopping a supplement based on how you're feeling. And it's helped people reduce side effects, optimize outcomes, and save money. So also just a disclaimer, always check with your doctor before doing something like this. Not all medications work like this, especially medications. I think this is like supplements only. And this is kind of what he recommends to his patients. So, all right, let me just read what he says about that. So supplement literally means to add to or enhance. So supplementation is used to top off nutrients you already receive daily from eating. It's also a tool to aid the body in supporting balance, which can be offset due to poor food quality and lack of essential minerals and vitamins. Supplementing is just one way you can help your body get specific nutrients it might be deficient in. It can be a supportive addition to your busy life, but is most beneficial when done intermittently. So it should not be an everyday occurrence except under certain circumstances. Once your system is full of that specific nutrient and performing at optimal levels, then the supplementation should pause or pulse. He says, keep in mind that what the body needs more of today might be different than what it needs tomorrow or the day before. It's very important. A lot of what he shares is, tune into how you're feeling before, after, and during your supplementation. And I found this to be really helpful because I would take something and I would see how I felt. And if it wasn't great, I would stop, I would lower the dose, and then maybe try again another day. And eventually, it is like a trial and error because everybody's different. Everybody has had different places where they're coming from. Some people have, everyone has a totally different makeup genetically. And so not every vitamin is just going to work perfectly for each person. We have different mutations and things that can affect us. So I like this method because, it goes more into detail on his article. It's Dr. Ben Lynch on the pulse method. You can go and he tells you exactly what to do and how to do it. I'm just bringing this up because there are different ways to supplement. Another really simple way that I've done supplementation is just, I always start low because I always want to see how I feel and the dosage that I need. And then I'll just sprinkle some or the different supplements I'm taking that day into a little orange juice or coconut water or just water, mix it up, and then drink it throughout the day, which is actually really helpful because you don't have to worry about like an overload in your system with those vitamins or minerals or whatever it is you're taking, but you can allow your body to slowly absorb it through the day. And kind of like, I know they make some vitamins like that where it's like an extended period of time or like extended release. And this is just an easy way to do it at home, just to mix it all together and sip it through the day and kind of see how you feel. That's kind of something that I found that's been really helpful for me.
All right, very good. When we get back, we're going to get into some questions. Any other comments or questions for today's show? We've got some from the survey today, but we'd love to hear from you right now. Do you have any comments or questions for us today? 1-877-511-5483. That's 1-877-511-5483. Maybe I'll even sneak a question in for my wife, Becky, on the fact that I actually, I know that I take some other supplements from time to time when she gives me a drink and there's some things floating in it. and I have no idea what they are, and I'm drinking it down. And so I think there probably are some other supplements I take from time to time. I'm going to ask her, I think, about that and what she can tell us. What is she giving me? We're going to be right back. Stay tuned.
As part of our efforts to teach the beauty of our faith, we're broadcasting a special educational lesson every Wednesday called Lessons in Latin. I'm Canon Bourgeois, a priest of the Institute of Christ the King, Sovereign Priest. These mini teachings break down the history of the various parts of the Holy Mass. You can hear Lessons in Latin on Wednesdays at approximately 5:15 a.m., 3:45 p.m., and 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Lessons in Latin Wednesdays at 5:15 a.m., 3:45 p.m., and 9:40 p.m. on the Station of the Cross Catholic Media Network.
What you're offering and giving to me, you deserve to get back because you're offering more than I can give.
I learned so much through the Station on the Cross. I listen to the radio station daily, and I absolutely love it.
I was attending the chapel and places like that, and through your programs, I was able to find out how other Protestants had come back into the Catholic Church. God bless the Station of the Cross.
Donate today at thestationofthecross.com.
Each weekday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern, the Station of the Cross brings you Mother Miriam Live.
Don't let circumstances determine your life and your peace and your love and your sacrifice.
Tune in from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern for Mother Miriam Live on the Station of the Cross and our free iCatholic Radio mobile app. You can also watch the video stream every day on Facebook or on YouTube. The Station of the Cross began broadcasting in Buffalo, New York in 1999. Since then, our listening areas have multiplied and expanded into several states. While our mission is to grow the Catholic faith through radio and other media outlets, our apostolate is supportive of but independent from your local diocese. Through your generosity, we are able to inspire countless listeners with the gospel and help lead them to a parish to be spiritually nourished by the sacraments.
Simple Truth. Jim and Becky Havens here, Wholeness and Healing Monday on the Simple Truth. Our topic, smart supplementation. Do you have a question or comment for us? Give us a call now, 1-877-511-5483. That's 1-877-511-5483. All right, we put the option out there for any further questions or comments on the survey today. And Lisa from Clovis, California asks the following: what are your thoughts on supplements specifically for women past menopause? And I have zero thoughts on that, but Becky, I'm hoping maybe you have some thoughts. Go ahead.
I'm glad that you have no thoughts on that. To be honest, though, I don't know myself either. I think it would depend on what are your needs. What are you struggling with? I think the idea that floats around is that once we're, going through menopause, right before menopause, after menopause, we need to supplement. We need to figure out what our body needs. And it's like, we can't forget that God honestly made us in a way where we shouldn't necessarily need supplements. Now, there can be external factors that are going to change that. And that's definitely something to look into. But, I would say if you're having specific issues, then you could look at it from that way and kind of research some of the symptoms you're having and maybe find something that would work for you in that moment. But I feel like it's pushed on us to, immediately start supplementing hormones or this or that. And it's like, if you're good, then I would say leave it be. And if you're having challenges, then that's the time to start to kind of dig in and take a look at that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we also had Pamela in Tonawanda, New York, ask the following: what brands are safe, effective, and not too expensive? Is Balance of Nature a good supplement? Becky, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it depends on how long. This is just my opinion and kind of what we do. If it's just for a small amount of time, I don't feel super uncomfortable going to my local supplement store or local like organic co-op and going through the shelves there and finding something that, I might need to take for a few months. And I feel okay with that if I don't fully know everything about the company, because it's just a small amount of time. Obviously they're selling it because it must be, have some level of goodness to it. But if it's a long-term thing, I would definitely look into the companies. Just a few that we use Seeking Health, Jigsaw, and Perfect Supplements. Those are the few that we use primarily for the different needs we have, especially if they're long-term. But again, go to the website and check and learn more about the company first, I would say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very good. All right. If you want to get a question in, 1-877-511-5483. Last call, 1-877-511-5483. All right. I guess I'll sneak my question in here. So I guess I am taking some other supplementation. Becky, you would know about this. So on the one hand, this is very good. I think that I trust my wife to a high degree. And on the other hand, maybe problematic in the sense that, again, I'm not thinking these things through. I'm just taking what's before me and not asking questions or not trying to learn more about these things. Instead, you might give me a drink and drink this. You might give me some pills. Hey, take these. And I just do it and don't really ask any questions about it normally. So tell me, what am I taking? What do you give me in terms of supplementation?
Oh, this is funny. You found me out. Yes, I do sometimes sneak a supplement or two into your drink because honestly, I've delved into this so much. And if I see my husband struggling with something, or I know he has some underlying health issues or things he's going through, I know through the research and different things I've used, if something's going to help him or give him a little bit of a boost that day, I will add it in. He generally, you generally could care less, kind of what I'm giving you, unless it's liver. I know I've snuck in some beef liver into some meatballs or some things like that, and you were not happy with that. But I learned my lesson with that. But honestly, the only thing I'm really ever putting in there is a vitamin C and some magnesium, sometimes the NAC, which is, going to help, detox and recover us from our COVID escapade. But, unless it's something very specific, don't worry, I'm not going too far. And you are somebody who, you're opposite of me. I'll give you like a new supplement, and I'm like, okay, how do you feel? Is any difference? And you're like, oh, I took a supplement. I didn't notice at all. And I'm like, if I would have taken that dose at that time, I would have been feeling this way or that way. And so he's a good person to kind of do my experiments on. I'm just kidding. Kind of.
Well, my recollection on the liver, by the way, is I don't remember the meatball incident as you relate it, but I do remember some liver attempted to be snuck into the meat sauce on some spaghetti. I think it was. You can't try that on me. I'm gonna sniff that out. That's an easy one, right? And so no, I'm not gonna have that liver. I'm sorry. I'm pretty easygoing. I'm gonna be grateful for whatever food is put before me. Liver might be where I draw the line, but you know what? I should overcome that. I really should. So maybe we can work on this, and I can learn to eat the liver without complaint. So that's something. That's a little homework I'm going to try to take away, perhaps. But all right, we're coming down the stretch here. Just a few minutes to go. Maybe we can land on some good supplementation, not just for the mind and body, but also for the soul. So when we think about diet, when it comes to the soul, well, Jesus has blessed us with the greatest of gifts himself in the Blessed Sacrament. And he calls us all to get to the point where we can be able to be in that disposition that he calls us to receive him in Holy Communion, to go to confession, to be baptized, to go to confession, and to be able to be in sanctifying grace by his great gift to us, that the gift of his love, we can then receive him in this sacrament of love, Holy Communion. So that is the ultimate. All right, that is the ultimate, where we are feeding on the very body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord Jesus himself. This is what he died to give us. It is food for saints, food on this earthly pilgrimage towards heaven for our souls. thanks be to God. And certainly, I would say it has a bodily effect as well, our souls and bodies being united as one. At the same time, how about some supplementation for the soul? Becky, anything that jumps out to you as great things in terms of supplementation for the soul?
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to touch on what you were just sharing. It's very easy to get away from who's in charge of our health, who's in charge of our life. And obviously that's God and God's plan. And so when you're in, even in the health space at all, it's very tempting to just go an extreme direction. And every pill, this is going to help me. This is going to cure me. I'm relying on these supplements. I'm relying on this exercise and this diet. And yes, we owe it to ourselves to do the research and do what we can to keep our body healthy. But in the end, a lot of times it's out of our control. And there's been many times when I've, kind of come away from this and have lost track completely. And you've been great at that, bringing me back to that, Jim, to remember that, what's the greatest healing? It's God, it's the sacraments, the Eucharist, it's peace of heart. And I think a lot of our ailments can come from anxiety and worry. And it's like God is constantly telling us, stop worrying, stop being anxious. Look at the birds of the air. I mean, that's a constant quote that's going through our family, and we're all human and have those temptations to worry. So if you get anxious about supplements and you're thinking, what's the right one for me to take? Like, how am I going to know? What's the dosage or anything that we've shared? I would say take a step back and find that peace with the Lord first, and slowly dive into maybe certain things you might need, but let that peace be the number one healer for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are so blessed, and remember what this is all for. We want to be healthy in body in order to be able to live our vocations well, to be as free as we can, to really love those well who are entrusted to our care out of our love of God, and also those around us beyond just our vocations as well. We want to be able to offer reparation. We want to be able to pray well and to serve others. And so we want to be healthy to be able to do that. God, please help us by your grace and by all the gifts you give us. God bless you.